Good Thursday evening and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top news stories, let's take a quick look outside that weather window. And a lot like yesterday, a beautiful day across north central Washington today. And talk about beautiful, how about this weather shot from our PTZ camera that's on Jump Off Ridge? And thank you to Sky5 for providing that beautiful shot of the Wenatchee Valley. Blue sky out there mixed with some clouds, and that was pretty much our Thursday weather. It was a little bit cooler today than we've seen the past couple of days, but all in all, very, very nice. Get used to some clouds, though, as we take a look at what's going to happen over the next few days. Clouds will stick around. In fact, we could see some snow in the Cascades, but I think we will stay nice pretty much through Friday. So tomorrow, once again, a decent day, a little bit breezy, possibly in the afternoon for Friday. And by the time we get into this weekend, we could be talking about a pretty significant winter storm in the mountains. And remember, that will be in the mountains. No snow expected for here in the lowlands. We could see a good chance for rain on Saturday. But be careful if you are traveling this weekend. We'll talk much more about that and more coming up in your weather forecast a little bit later on. And now a few of the stories we're following for you tonight. The Chelan man who demanded money to return stolen computer equipment will serve 30 days on a jail work crew. A Moses Lake couple was forced to take a detour en route to Confluence Health this morning for the birth of their fourth child. We will bring you their unbelievable story. And if you've done any driving recently, you've probably noticed that pothole season is upon us as city, county, and state crews are out working on winter damaged roads throughout our region. But first, we begin tonight. An Ephrata man is charged with 3 felonies after allegedly fleeing from Douglas County Sheriff's deputies in a stolen car. Jose Fabian Sanchez, who's 24, remains jailed after a February 7th highway chase that wound from the town of Douglas all the way to the east side of Banks Lake, a distance of about 43 miles. Deputies say Sanchez was driving a blue Honda sedan, reported stolen out of Grant County. He surrendered only after the car's tires were shredded by a police spike strip and allegedly told police he'd borrowed the car with the owner's permission. Prosecutors charged him Tuesday with possessing a stolen vehicle, obstruction, fleeing from police, and driving with no valid license. Well, the Chelan man who demanded money to return stolen computer equipment will serve 30 days on a jail work crew. Joseph Wiley Meadows, who's 45, asked for $800 to return $6,000 worth of gear stolen in a Wenatchee vehicle prowl 1 year ago. He pleaded guilty last month to charges of second-degree extortion and possessing methamphetamine. Judge Kristen Ferreira sentenced him Wednesday. It's his first offense, and prosecutors dropped a related charge of trafficking stolen property. Meadows was never charged with that vehicle prowl. Well, a Moses Lake couple was forced to take a detour en route to Confluence Health this morning for the birth of their 4th child. Andre Demchuk said he was driving his wife Vera to the hospital when they had to divert into the parking lot of Rose Tractor in East Wenatchee.
I was trying to show my wife, like, hey, look how beautiful the drive is. Like, look over there, look at that, look at that. Trying to keep her distracted and, kind of breathing normally and not stressing out. But yeah, as soon as we came around that corner, we got up to the first stoplight, and my wife's like started yelling and screaming, and she's like, "This baby is coming out now." So I don't know, pulled into the road tractors and called 911, and then put it on my car audio so I could talk to them while. And yeah, as soon as I put it into park, I look over and I could see the baby's head already coming out. She was in the front passenger seat, and I was asking her, do you want to go in the back seat? Will it be more comfortable over there? And she's just like, no, here's good. And she put her feet on the dash and delivered the baby.
Vera had a baby in the car.
No way.
Baby in the car.
And I was holding the baby in my hands when the police showed up, and then the ambulance took over, or the emergency response people took over. It was all amazing. amazing how everything.
Thankfully, mother and baby are just fine and resting at Confluence Health. We couldn't help but ask if they thought of a tractor-themed name for the newborn.
Yeah, we were thinking like maybe Deer or Ferguson or something like that, but I mean, I think most likely he's going to be a farmer or a tractor hobbyist or something like that.
We're very happy to report that baby Felix is doing just fine. Well, if you've driven recently, you've probably noticed that pothole season is upon us. City, county, and state crews are out working on winter-damaged roads throughout our region. The problem is so bad on Highway 17 that the State Department of Transportation has reduced the speed limit on about an 8-mile stretch between Bridgeport and Leahy. That's Leahy Junction, from 60 miles per hour down to 35 miles per hour. Electronic warning signs are being posted as the state works on repairing those potholes. Coming up next, Chelan County Commissioner Doug England has been appointed to serve on a state panel that will make recommendations on how to clean up so-called legacy pesticides from old orchard lands. The U.S. House passed the Protecting America's Wilderness Act on Wednesday. We'll tell you the implications of that. And the central Washington valleys have seen dry days and relatively balmy high temperatures, but up in the mountains where our snowpack gathers, it's a whole different story. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
Arctic Refrigeration and Heating, serving North Central Washington, is proud to offer the finest heating and cooling air quality products along with prompt and professional customer service since 1984. Regardless of the temperature outside, Arctic is here for you. Arctic offers a variety of services: residential and commercial heating, air conditioning, commercial refrigeration, as well as planned fall and spring maintenance for the overall well-being of your system. Call Arctic Refrigeration and Heating for your heating and cooling needs.
It's a marvelous markdown at Sangster Buick GMC.
Hi, Corey Sangster, and we're ending the year with a bang. Take advantage of employee pricing on a great selection of new Buick and GMCs. 2019 GMC Sierra 1500 Crew SLT with savings over $11,000. Or this 2019 Buick Encore all-wheel drive up to $7,000 off. Or choose employee pricing. Before you buy, compare price, service, and selection.
December is a marvelous markdown at Sangster Buick GMC or sangstermotors.com.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
Welcome back. In another news, Chelan County Commissioner Doug England has been appointed to serve on a state panel that will make recommendations on how to clean up so-called legacy pesticides from old orchard lands. The chemicals containing cancer-causing lead and arsenic were used to treat apple and pear orchards up until the early 50s. The state is now in the process of identifying those areas with the highest concentration of legacy pesticides and determining a plan of action. Chelan County is ranked second in the state in terms of the total number of acres identified.
How would you characterize the actual threat to public health from this?
I personally don't think it's nearly the kind of concern that some people do. You know, it hasn't been applied for over 70 years. I'm not arguing that lead is a concern, high lead levels, or that high levels of arsenic are a concern. But what we're trying to get the Department of Ecology to do is to participate in more widespread blood testing to see what the actual lead level is here. There is the tests that have gone on so far haven't really reached the amount that need to be for a complete conclusion, but the preliminary results show that there's not an elevated lead level in our infants or our children compared to even King County or Thurston County or Pierce County. We're quite a bit less than that.
England says the legacy pesticide working group will be meeting over the next several months to come up with a plan of action. He maintains that any future actions taken by the state must take into consideration the actual risk to public health. In other news, the U.S. House passed the Protecting America's Wilderness Act on Wednesday, which would preserve an estimated 1.4 million acres in Washington, Colorado, and California from logging, mining, and new roads. About 1,000 miles of river also would be added to the National Wild and Scenic River System. It would be the largest such wilderness designation in more than a decade. All of the 131,000 acres in Washington added under that bill are on the west side, with most in the Olympic Peninsula. The fate of the bill in the Republican-controlled Senate is uncertain, and President Trump has vowed a veto if it makes it to his desk. 8th District Representative Dr. Kim Schrier successfully added an amendment to the bill requiring the federal government to study how preserving wilderness lands can help reduce flooding in residential areas. Schrier said protecting those lands is an important tool in fighting climate change.
Protecting wilderness areas is so important to maintain Washington's beautiful environment for future generations. My amendment to the bill is very simple. It requires the Government Accountability Office to study how preserving wilderness lands can help reduce flood risks in residential areas. This is practically in my backyard. Over the past week, Washington State has experienced severe winter storms. The governor of Washington State recently issued an emergency proclamation for 25 counties due to flooding and winter weather. 3 of those counties, Kittitas, King, and Pierce, are located in the 8th Congressional District, my congressional district. In my district, these storms largely took the form of excessive rain and flooding. They caused landslides on a highway that cut off access to the Greenwater community in Crystal Mountain, Washington's largest ski area, which was closed for 4 days in a very busy typical weekend period. In Issaquah, here, down the road from one of my district offices, the Eastside Fire Department evacuated apartment buildings that were in proximity to a creek that had breached its banks and had water rushing through the parking lot and under the building. In Falls City, a town that has 2 roads in and out, there's a slow-moving landslide underneath one of those roads, and the road has started to separate. Residents have been encouraged to evacuate so they're not at risk of being isolated in this town. As we continue to confront climate change, we need to holistically consider our approaches to wilderness and public lands. Preservation of our public lands is just one tool at our disposal to help mitigate the impacts of flooding. We need to let nature do what nature does best, soak up water and prevent land from moving and turning into a landslide or mudslide during a flooding event. Climate change science shows that our region will experience heavier, more intense rainfall and increased rain-on snow events that will increase the risk of flooding. Comprehensive watershed level planning from the headwaters and wild and public lands all the way down to our towns and cities is critical if we are going to address the myriad challenges facing so many of our communities, from flooding to salmon habitat restoration to expanding recreation and outdoor access.
The central Washington valleys have seen dry days and relatively balmy high temperatures. But up in the mountains where our snowpack gathers, it's a different story. The State Department of Ecology says since January 1st, the state's snowpack has increased an average of 352,000 acre feet per day. That's how we measure the volume of water stored in that snowpack. The statewide figure rose from just over 6 million on New Year's Day to 22 million acre feet as of this morning. Those totals have topped out at about 26 million in each of the last 3 years. In our last severe drought year, 2015, it never got above 7 million. Mountain snow is crucial for irrigation and water supply. It releases that water slowly into our rivers and streams as it melts. You're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. Coming up next, tonight's features story and your complete local weather forecast. That and much more still to come on the NCWLIFE Evening News. Stay with us.
Family roles change with time. You may find yourself being an unpaid caregiver to a loved one. Caregiving can be rewarding, but also stressful. Taking care of yourself is vital. Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington has low or no cost services for unpaid caregivers, such as in-home support, care supplies, and counseling. Connect in your local area by calling Aging and Adult Care at 800-572-4459 and mention you're interested in caregiver support.
When it comes to finding a memory care community, you want the very best. You want to know that your loved one is safe and receiving compassionate care in a loving environment. Fieldstone Memory Care is an innovative assisted living community designed for those with Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's disease. You'll find a community specifically designed to enrich residents' lives. The Fieldstone team is here to help you navigate the important decisions you face when a loved one has dementia or Alzheimer's. Welcome home to Fieldstone.
Welcome back to the NCWLIFE Evening News. Time now for our weekly Kennel Cameos feature from the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society. Tonight, NCWLIFE's Megan McPherson introduces us to Percy the dog.
Hey everyone, Megan here with the NCWLIFE channel. We're here with Jenny, the volunteer coordinator at the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society, and Percy is joining us this week. Can you tell us about Percy?
Yeah, Percy's about 5 years old. He's probably one of our best dogs we have here. We're a little surprised that he's still here. Percy waits every single day at the front of his kennel, just looking at you with his kind of little soulful eyes. He doesn't bark. He's pretty clean in his kennel. He goes to play group, so he's good with other dogs. I would still actually, if you had another dog, bring your dog here for a meet and greet just to make sure. He assessed neutral with our cat, which is a pretty good sign. It's like he didn't really pay any attention to it, and which is a pretty good sign. Overall, he's a really great dog. He's in our CGC program here with our volunteer Barb, and he's kind of the star student of the group right now, so we just love Percy, so we'd like for somebody to come down and meet Percy.
And how can someone adopt Percy?
Percy's ready to go home today, so just come on down to the shelter to meet him.
Percy!
Do you want to say anything?
The Wenatchee Valley Humane Society is located at 1474 South Wenatchee Avenue and is open Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Give them a call at 509-662-9577 or visit their website at wenatcheehumane.org. This has been Kennel Cameos at the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society.
Time now for a check of our North Central Washington weather forecast. And before we get to those details, as we head into the upcoming weekend, what a shot from our Sky-Fi Tower camera this afternoon. This one coming from Jump Off Ridge. Right here is the Wenatchee Heights area, and this is where our cross camera is. So we're back from that, overlooking the entire Wenatchee Valley. Beautiful blue sky, some wispy high clouds, and a few lower level clouds as well throughout the day today. So with those clouds out there, it kept our temperature down somewhat. We were 50 yesterday, about 10 degrees cooler than that today, unofficially at 40 degrees, which is pretty much where we should be for this time of year, at 41 for our normal high. Pretty much normal for our lows too, 29 this morning, 28 is normal. Record high, almost 60 degrees back in 1971 at 59, and for the third day in a row now, our record low just last year at 13 degrees. Sunrise this morning was at 7:10, and the sun will set this afternoon at 5:21. Let's take a peek at your Friday weather forecast, get you going for the upcoming weekend. Many of you, Eastmont anyway, no school tomorrow, no school Monday, so you may be headed out tomorrow. Things look nice temperature-wise, upper 40s for Moses Lake, Ephrata, Quincy, mid-40s. We will see mid-40s as well from Ellensburg into Wenatchee, lower 40s then in the higher elevations of Chelan, and as we move up north into Omak. Not a bad Friday at all. It will be, though, a little bit breezy. We're going to see that tonight. West winds 5 to 15 miles an hour, just a sliver of those stronger winds in the Cascades, and that's all part of this frontal system that's moving through with partly cloudy skies for us. As we get into Friday, a little more wind will persist. In fact, a little bit stronger for tomorrow, 10 to 15 miles an hour. We will see increasing clouds throughout the day, and boy, if you're traveling to the east into Montana, Indiana. Very, very windy travel that direction. As we get into the upcoming weekend on Saturday, mostly cloudy skies. Our best shot at some wet stuff. A 40% chance of rain. It's all from this flow coming from the Pacific. Even some scattered snow shower activity in the mountains. So if you're traveling, Stevens Pass, Snoqualmie Pass, Blewett, we could see up to a foot of snow in some of those places. Sunday in the morning, maybe a scattered sprinkle or two here in the Wenatchee area, turning mostly sunny by afternoon, and you can see those clear skies. Monday, more of the same. Mostly sunny skies, dry. We will stay on the mild side as well, as this area of high pressure continues to bring nice mild air right into the north central Washington area. And then for Tuesday, these are clouds. These colors, light green, high clouds. Look at that. We're not going to see any clouds for Tuesday, and it's going to be nice and warm too. Temperatures for the most part around our area in the mid 40s to the mid 50s, and even nicer than that for Wednesday. Sunshine, look at this, all the way back into the Great Lakes. High pressure here, and off the coast will bring beautiful clear skies as we get into the mid part of next week. Let's take a look now at your Patriot Plumbing, Heating and Cooling 7-day forecast. 32 the overnight low tonight. With those clouds, it'll keep our temperatures up a little bit. 44 with increasing clouds on Friday, and then that decent chance for some rain showers. A 40% chance for the wet stuff on Saturday, and 45, 46 on both Sunday and Monday. And what beautiful weather on Tuesday and Wednesday with sunshine and high temperatures then in the middle 40s. And that's a look at your local weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE continues right after this.
The two hottest pickups in America are at Town Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. First, the Ram 1500 with back-to-back Truck of the Year awards from Motor Trend, and now the Car and Driver 10 Best list for 2020. They call it a luxury sedan with pickup capabilities. Ram is on a roll now with third-generation EcoDiesel power. Next up, the Jeep Gladiator, also a 2020 10 Best model based on the new award-winning Jeep Wrangler. It has options and capabilities that no other truck can offer. Two more reasons when it comes to buying a truck. There's no reason to leave town.
Traditional values and innovation in honoring the life of each family we serve is part of the ministry of Heritage Memorial Chapel. Our staff is committed to walk with your family with compassion through this time of grief. We are here to help and here to serve, the right kind of help when you need it most. Heritage Memorial Chapel.
This is Caitlin Hedershe, the producer of the NCWLIFE magazine. Each week, I'm bringing you a look behind the scenes of the faces, places, and events that make North Central Washington the place we call home. Tune in every weekday for an in-depth look at a new topic each week. From local artists in their studios to businesses breaking barriers that might surprise you and everything in between. Join me on the NCWLIFE magazine right here on the NCWLIFE channel.
And now it's a sports update on the NCWLIFE channel.
And a happy Thursday to you. The Wenatchee Valley College Lady Knights basketball team defended its home floor last night with a 53-44 win over North Idaho. Carrie Ann Kunkel and Chastity Spady each had 14 points to lead WVC. The Lady Knights improved to 9-3 in East Conference play and remain a half game back of second place Yakima Valley, 3 games behind first place Walla Walla. Chance Michael's three-pointer at the buzzer wasn't enough last night for the Wenatchee Valley men, who fell to North Idaho 79-78 the final. The Knights had the lead with 2:35 remaining in the second half, but couldn't hold on as the Cardinals won their 11th straight. Michaels finished with 17 points, while Abdullah had 13 for Wenatchee Valley. The Knights remain in third place in the NWAC East at 8-4, 20-5 overall. Coming up on the women's college basketball schedule for tonight, Eastern Washington hosts Idaho at 5:35. Washington plays at number 12 Arizona, while Washington State visits number 22 Arizona State. That's at 6 o'clock. Also at 6, number 15 Gonzaga hosts San Francisco. Central Washington plays on the road at Simon Fraser in the Vancouver area tonight at 7. On the men's schedule, the Washington Huskies play at USC That's at 6 o'clock on ESPN2. Central Washington is at Alaska Fairbanks at 7 o'clock. Eastern hosts Idaho at 7:45. And tonight at 8 on the Pac-12 Network, Washington State plays at UCLA. On the Les Schwab Prep boys basketball scoreboard from last night in Central Washington B-League tournament play, Oroville edged Manson 56-51 to end the Trojan season. Liberty Bell topped Bridgeport 61-60 to end the Mustang season. In the Central Washington Athletic Conference District Tournament, Ellensburg beat Ephrata 56-50. Coming up on the prep schedule for tonight, in girls play, Entiat wraps up the regular season on the road at Moses Lake Christian at 5:45. In the first round of the Central Washington 2B District Tournament, Bridgeport plays at Brewster and Lake Roosevelt hosts Tonasket, that at 6 o'clock. Also on the boys' side tonight, Entiat and Moses Lake Christian wrap up the regular season with a tip time at 7:30. Well, the Wenatchee Wild will wrap up the regular home ice schedule this weekend at the Town Toyota Center. Beginning tomorrow night, Wenatchee hosts Vernon at 7:05 on Wild Love Date Night on Valentine's Day. Then on Saturday, it's Fan Appreciation Night with the first 1,000 through the gates getting the new Walt bobblehead doll. Wenatchee the game, that is, features Wenatchee and Chilliwack at 7:05. With 5 games remaining on the schedule, Wenatchee could still position itself with home ice advantage. Wild enter the weekend just 3 points separating themselves from 5th to 3rd place in the Interior Division. Join us tomorrow morning on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley when we'll be joined by the voice of the Wenatchee Wild, Arch Ecker, as well as player Luke Ormsby, along with Dan right here. Now, tonight is hockey night on the NCWLIFE channel. That means hockey right here on TV. We'll feature the Wild's February 1st game at the Town Toyota Center with the Coquitlam Express. Watch all the action with Arch Ecker on the play-by-play beginning tonight at 7 o'clock. And don't forget, we'll have playoff basketball live here coming up Saturday on the NCWLIFE channel. I'll be courtside at Eastmont High School for the play-by-play of the Kashmir Bulldogs and Omak Pioneers for the District 6 1A Championship. That will get going at 5 o'clock. That'll be followed by Kashmir and Okanagan for the Boys Championship at 7. That's all right here on your home for local sports, the NCWLIFE channel. Well, the Mariners welcome back Taiwan Walker to the fold as pitchers and catchers reported to Peoria yesterday. The 27-year-old free agent signed a 1-year Major League contract will get him a shot at the starting role with his former club. Walker was dealt to the Arizona Diamondbacks 3 years ago from Seattle. Walker comes in after the club placed reliever Austin Adams on the 60-day injured list. Adams is recuperating from surgery on his left knee after tearing his ACL on the final road trip last season. That's a look at sports news. I'm Eric Granstrom. Grant, back to you.
Thank you very much, Eric. And now let's check in with Dan Kuntz for a look at what's coming up tomorrow morning on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Dan?
Thank you very much, Grant. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day, and this show will be full of love, or full of something. Anyway, my guests will be Arch Ecker, the broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Wild, and Luke Ormsby. Lucas is one of the outstanding young hockey players on this Wenatchee Wild squad. Their final 2 regular season home games are this weekend as they take aim for the playoffs, and you'll have a chance to win tickets for this weekend's games. Tomorrow morning for Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, we'll see you live at 7 a.m. from this very studio. Grant, back to you.
Look forward to it, Dan. Thank you. And that's going to do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around North Central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@ncwlife.com or give us a call at 888-NCWL. That's 888-6295. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks for joining us, and have a great night.
With TV advertising, what we want to do is more deeply connect with the community.
People spot me in different parts around North Central, Costco and Wenatchee, say, hey, you're the pizza guy. And so they wouldn't know that if it weren't for the TV commercials we've done.
We've been here so long that people already know who we are and what we do, but to have that image flash on their television screen as opposed to just hearing in the radio or seeing in the newspaper. I just love the fact that we can actually put our finger on when a customer comes in and says, I saw your ad.
It's becoming increasingly difficult in this digital age to know where are your customers listening or watching, because I watch all the different channels that they watch too, like Cooking Channel, History Channel, and so it was wonderful to be able to be on there.
I would say that if you want to do business in Wenatchee, then you should connect with the people of Wenatchee, and there's no better way to do that than with NCWLIFE.